The Forrester estate was buzzing with preparations. Florists moved in and out of the grand courtyard, arranging thousands of white roses along marble railings and archways. Strings of lights crisscrossed overhead, catching the California sun as the day of the highly anticipated wedding between Hope Logan and Carter Walton finally arrived. It was a union that shocked many and delighted others. Hope, once locked in a never-ending triangle with Liam and Thomas, had chosen peace. Carter, a man known for his loyalty and steadiness, had chosen passion over perfection. Their story was unconventional, but the guests all agreed. This wedding marked a fresh start for everyone involved. Or so they thought. At the center of the bridal party was Daphne Sinclair, Hope's newest confidant, stylist, and trusted friend. Daphne had come into the Forrester circle a year prior, having styled several Hope for the future campaigns with skill and subtle charm. She was discreet, poised, with a mysterious past that no one dared to question too deeply. When Hope asked her to be a bridesmaid, Daphne accepted with grace and a warm smile, her eyes gleaming with something no one noticed: revenge. Behind the elegant smiles and champagne toasts, Daphne had constructed a plan that had been years in the making. This wedding wasn't a celebration to her. It was an opportunity. And by the end of it, no one in that courtyard would see Hope or Carter the same way again. The night before the ceremony, as Hope slipped away to her suite with butterflies in her chest and Carter toasted with Ridge and Zend on the terrace, Daphne made her move. She met quietly with a man named Mateo, a former security contractor turned mercenary with no allegiances and plenty of debt. Daphne handed him a sealed envelope, a thick stack of cash, and strict instructions. "She leaves with you," Daphne said. "No bruises, no trace. 2 hours. That's all I need." Mateo smirked. "And what happens when she starts screaming?" "She won't. I know Hope. She trusts too easily." That night, Daphne joined Hope in her suite for a final dress fitting. Hope beamed, glowing in her silk and lace gown, completely unaware. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she told Daphne, hugging her tightly. Daphne smiled, eyes cold. "You'll never have to find out." The wedding morning dawned bright and clear. Guests began arriving by 10. Liam sat stiffly in the third row, jaw clenched, unable to understand how Hope had moved on so quickly. Thomas, standing near the back with Steffi, whispered that Carter was a rebound and nothing more. Eric smiled warmly at Brooke, who stood alone, her eyes never leaving her daughter's empty seat at the altar. Carter stood beside Ridge, calm but eager. The music began to play, but the bride never appeared. Inside Hope's suite, the room was empty. The gown lay on the floor. A broken glass sat on the vanity. No one had seen Hope since early morning. Chaos erupted. Brooke demanded the security team search the grounds. Ridge ordered Carter to stay calm. Steffi called the police. Liam slipped away, convinced that Thomas was involved. And Daphne stood in the center of it all, clutching a bouquet and pretending to be just as stunned. Hope awoke in the back of a black SUV moving along the Pacific Coast Highway, wrists bound gently, not tightly, blindfolded but alert. "Daphne," she whispered. "Daphne." The vehicle stopped 2 hours later at a cliffside mansion overlooking the ocean. Mateo led her inside. And standing in the center of the cold, opulent foyer was Daphne, no longer in a bridesmaid's dress, but a tailored navy suit, hair pinned back, expression lethal. "You're safe," she said, walking forward. "For now." Hope blinked. "What are you doing? You kidnapped me? Why? Why now?" Daphne crossed her arms. "Because I needed your full attention. And because I didn't want you walking down the aisle based on a lie." Hope staggered. "What lie? What are you talking about?" Daphne stepped closer. "Let me tell you who I really am." And then the truth poured out. "My name isn't Daphne Sinclair. It's Daphne Walton, half-sister to Carter Walton." Hope blinked. "That's not possible. Oh, but it is, Daphne continued. My mother was Geneva Walton. She died in a car accident when I was 16. Your precious Carter never mentioned her because he never knew her. Our father left when I was 2. He started another life. Had another family. He raised Carter, gave him everything. While I was stuck in group homes and shelters. I found out the truth when I was 23. And since then, I've watched Carter climb. Watched him become everyone's favorite moral compass while pretending he never had a sister. While I starved. Hope's voice trembled. So this is revenge? Against Carter? No, Daphne said. This is justice. You were my way in. I wanted to hate you. I wanted to destroy you. But then I saw something in you. You're not evil. Just blind. You walk through life thinking your decisions don't cause damage. You chase peace, but leave wreckage behind. You are just like Carter. Hope's tears fell silently. You used me. Yes, Daphne said. But I'm giving you a choice. You can go back. Walk down that aisle and marry a man who has no idea he abandoned his blood. Or you can help me expose the truth. At the altar. In front of everyone. You tell them who I am. You tell them what he did. Hope stared at her. And if I don't? Then I release a statement to every press outlet in California. I release every document I've collected. Birth records. Adoption papers. Photos. And you'll still lose him. Back at the estate, the guests were being ushered into reception areas to calm nerves. Carter was pacing. Brooke was demanding answers. Liam confronted Thomas outside the gates. Security found nothing. No ransom. No evidence. Until Mateo's SUV was discovered abandoned at a rest stop. Inside, a scarf from Hope's bridal gown and a note written in block letters. Do not call the police. She is safe. She will return on her terms. Asterisk, asterisk, 6 hours later, as the sun began to dip behind the hills, a car pulled up to the estate. Hope stepped out. Pale, still in a tattered version of her wedding dress, eyes red, bouquet clutched like a weapon. Carter ran to her. Are you okay? What happened? Hope looked him dead in the eyes. We need to talk. Inside. Alone. They disappeared into the house. Minutes passed. Then voices raised. Then silence. Hope returned to the courtyard. Everyone fell quiet. I'm calling off the wedding, she announced. Gasps. Carter stepped up behind her, stunned, eyes hollow. I found out something today, Hope continued. Something that changes everything. This man has a sister. Her name is Daphne. And she's been standing beside me, wearing a bridesmaid's dress, waiting for justice. Every head turned toward Daphne, who stepped forward slowly. Carter's voice was hoarse. I didn't know. Daphne said nothing. Just handed him a folder. Now you do. She walked away, leaving Carter frozen, Hope broken, and the entire Forrester dynasty shaken. The wedding never happened. The reception tent was taken down the next morning. Hope returned to her mother's house in silence. Carter tried to reach out. No one answered. Brooke made a public statement calling the ordeal a painful misunderstanding. But the damage was done. Daphne disappeared again. But not before signing a legal affidavit as Geneva Walton's only daughter and next of kin. She didn't want money. She wanted recognition. And now she had it. The world would remember the wedding that never happened and the woman who stopped it with truth wrapped in vengeance. The courtyard of the Forrester estate was filled with laughter, clinking champagne glasses, and the soft strains of a string quartet playing under the golden glow of Los Angeles' setting sun. Guests gathered from every corner of the fashion world to witness what many considered a miracle, Hope Logan and Carter Walton's wedding. After years of heartbreak, betrayal, and endless triangles, Hope had chosen someone different, someone steady, kind, consistent. Carter was a man who made her feel safe, not just desired. Their union represented hope not just in name, but in essence, a second chance for two people who had never found love without pain. The media praised it as the dawn of a new era for the Forresters, a merger of legacies that would outlast scandal. But while photographers captured every angle of the kiss, every detail of the gown, Hope Logan stood behind her smile with a secret that made her stomach churn beneath layers of silk. Just 48 hours before walking down the aisle, she'd received a call from her doctor, an urgent follow-up on lab work from a routine checkup. The results were abnormal. Further scans confirmed the worst. A rare autoimmune disorder, chronic and aggressive, that if left untreated, would begin to attack her organs. There was no cure, only management. And the treatment path would be brutal. Immunosuppressants, infusions, constant monitoring. Invasive, unpredictable, life-altering. Hope had nearly fainted in the clinic's hallway. She sat for hours in her car afterward, staring at the text Carter had sent her. I can't wait to call you my wife. She hadn't replied. She couldn't. Not yet. Back at home, Brooke knew something was wrong. You're pale, she said. Is it pre-wedding nerves? Hope smiled and lied. Just tired. I'm okay. But she wasn't. And the lie felt heavier than the ring Carter would soon slip onto her finger. On their wedding night, as they danced beneath the lights and guests toasted their future, Hope moved like a woman possessed by a borrowed life, grateful, scared, determined to protect the fragile happiness she had built. She had chosen not to tell Carter. Not yet. Because how could she? How could she take this moment and poison it with fear? So she waited. She watched him laugh with Zend, hug Ridge, kiss her mother on the cheek, and she thought, let him have tonight. Let us both have it, but time waits for no one. Within days, the symptoms began. Fatigue so crushing it pinned her to the bed. Pain in her joints so sharp she couldn't lift a sketch pad. Dizziness, blurred vision, migraines that made her vomit in silence while Carter showered in the next room. She made excuses. Told him she was pushing herself too hard at Forrester. Insisted it was the adjustment to married life. But Carter, ever perceptive, noticed. You're fading, he said one night, pulling her close. This isn't just stress, Hope. Something's wrong. She looked up at him, eyes filled with tears, and said nothing. That silence, more than any confession, became the crack in the foundation of their new marriage. As the days turned to weeks, Hope's condition worsened. During a board meeting at Forrester, she collapsed. Eric rushed to her side. Ridge demanded answers. Brooke wept. Hope was hospitalized for observation, forced to disclose the truth under medical pressure. Carter arrived at the hospital breathless, his face frozen as the doctor explained the diagnosis. Autoimmune polyendocrine syndrome, type 2. A long name for a long war. He turned to Hope, but she couldn't meet his eyes. I didn't want to ruin what we had, she whispered. I didn't want to make you carry this. You think love is fragile? Carter asked, voice low. You think I'm that shallow? No, she said. I think I am. I've ruined every relationship I've ever had. I wanted to give you something whole. Carter didn't walk away. He didn't lash out. He sat beside her bed and took her hand. Then let this be our vow, he said. Not just the wedding. Not just the ceremony. Let this be our real promise. I'm not afraid of the hard part. But the hard part came quickly. The medication affected her mood. Her body changed. Her skin flared. Her weight fluctuated. Her energy disappeared. Intimacy became difficult. Joy became work. And all the while, the public narrative continued. Hope Logan's marriage of the year. No one knew that behind the magazine spreads and red carpet smiles was a woman who woke up every day wondering if her body would betray her again, and a man trying to love someone whose pain he couldn't touch. Steffi, never one to stay quiet, confronted Carter in private. She should have told you before the wedding, she said. You didn't sign up for this. No one signs up for love, Carter replied. It's not a contract. It's a leap. And I jumped. I'm not climbing back. Brooke, too, struggled. Watching her daughter fade reminded her of the darkest chapters of her own life. She offered to move in, to help, to take over Hope for the future. But Hope refused. "If I lose my independence," she said, "then I lose everything." Even so, the line between strength and denial blurred more every day. Then came the campaign collapse. Hope missed a critical launch event. A shipment delay cost the company a major investor. Social media turned. Rumors spread. Thomas offered to step back in temporarily. Carter objected. But Hope, exhausted and defeated, signed the paperwork. For the first time, she handed her line to someone else. One night, lying in bed, she whispered to Carter, "If you want out." He cut her off. "Don't you dare. You're not a burden. You're my wife." She broke then. Not from the illness, but from the grace of being loved anyway. That moment marked a shift. Carter began attending treatments with her. He cleared his schedule. He installed wellness protocols at Forrester. He transformed part of their home into a medical retreat. He coordinated with specialists in Switzerland. He reminded her every morning that she was still Hope, not the disease. Slowly, her body stabilized. Her pain didn't vanish, but it softened. The storm passed, and in its place came something stronger than attraction, steadier than desire. Real love. Tested. Weathered. True. 1 year later, they renewed their vows. Quietly, on a beach, no press, no flowers. Just them. And when Carter said, "I take you," with every battle, with every scar, Hope didn't cry. She smiled. Because she had made peace with her broken pieces. And found someone who didn't need her to be perfect. Only present. Only real. Only his.